This is how you can email college coaches so they actually watch your highlight video and, most importantly, respond back to you. Now, not only did I earn a D1 football scholarship in the SEC at just 5'7" and 150 pounds, but this is the same 5-step playbook I teach my mentees where 83% earn college football scholarships. Now, before I jump into step 1, I'm assuming that you are targeting the right schools. However, if you're unsure if you are targeting the right divisions and schools where you have the best chance to get a college football scholarship, you can click the link in the description below to see if your son meets the criteria for a professional evaluation. Step 1, identify the right coach. The first step is making sure that you're sending your highlight video to the right coach, the coach that's responsible for recruiting your area. There are some schools, especially the smaller ones, that still recruit by position, but you want to make sure you're identifying the right coach regardless. And you do this by reaching out to all the coaches at each school and finding out who's responsible for recruiting your area. I made another video on exactly how to do this, so I'll leave a link in the description below. If you're sending your highlight video to coaches at a school that you're targeting, but they're not the right coach, they will just get deleted or ignored. Step 2, your call to action. Most athletes, when they send emails, have 4 or 5 call to actions, asking the coach multiple different questions, asking them to do multiple different things. However, if you already know the area coach and you want to get that coach to watch your highlight video so that they'll get on a phone call with you and you can move them through the process, then that's exactly what your call to action should be. Your entire email should be specifically geared towards getting them to watch your highlight video. If your goal in your email is to get an offer, then you'll do what most athletes do, which is share everything, all your accolades, your stats, your height, your weight, your GPA, all those different things. And you've seen these on X and in multiple different places where it's like you're scrolling and you see this kid's huddle video and 6 different bullet points of all their different stats and height and weight and size and position. And you've seen this and everybody looks exactly the same. The problem with this is coaches see this email, they know this email well, and they just delete it. They're ready to move on because they have a lot to do and you're not a priority. So instead, your call to action should be just to get them to watch your video. And if you just want them to watch your video, your email is going to be very simple, very short and to the point so that they click. One thing to note here as well is I'd highly recommend not sending emails through recruiting softwares. And the reason being is typically when it gets sent to the coach, it's in an HTML style format, and in some cases even has that recruiting services information on it. And I can tell you this from experience, and even our head coach who has 15 years of Division I recruiting experience will tell you that they literally had somebody filter those emails from those softwares into a certain folder so they don't even have to look at them. And they never even make it into their inbox. So every word in your email, from the subject all the way to your highlight video, is specifically there to get them to watch your highlight video, nothing else. Step 3, use our perfect pitch email framework and BCC every single coach the same thing over and over. That will not work. It's about using the template as a guide and then customizing it for every single coach. Now let's break down this email. The subject line. The easiest thing to do here is use the name of the coach that told you who's responsible for recruiting your area. When the coach logs into their email and they see another coach's on their staff's name as the subject, they're gonna be way more likely to go ahead and open that email. And the sole purpose of the subject line itself is just to get the coach to open their email. So instead of doing what every other athlete does, which is put their height, their weight, their position, their school, their location, all that stuff, and the coach knows right away that it's a recruiting email and to delete it, you can just put the coach's name. Now, when you're addressing the coach at the very top, make sure to put the coach's last name. So coach, and then that coach's last name. Now, the next section of this email is the introduction. And this is where you're gonna share with them that the other coach that you put in the subject shared with you that they're responsible for recruiting your area. This is different than anything else they've ever seen. And they're gonna be more likely to continue reading the email. And that's the purpose of every sentence and line in your email, is to get them to continue reading the email and ultimately click the link to watch your video. The next section is the personalized line. And this is where you're gonna go to their bio and find something in their bio where you can personalize this line. For example, you can go into their bio and see that they were Defensive Coach of the Year in 2023. And so your personalized line might be something like, congratulations, coach, and then their last name, for being Defensive Coach of the Year in 2023. You just want to show them that this is a customized email and that this isn't just a template blast like everyone else is doing who doesn't get responses. The next section is the self-introduction. And this is when you're gonna briefly share a little bit about yourself. If you haven't noticed, we've talked a lot about them, the coach, their school, first. And we do this because we wanna make it about them. It's about the coach, it's about their goals, it's about them winning, it's about them keeping their job, and you're there to help. It's not about you getting a scholarship. It's not about you getting what you want. It's always about them. And the more you're in the mindset of helping coaches achieve their goals, then they'll help you achieve yours. So here's what you're gonna share. Briefly share your name, position, class year, and why you're interested in their program. For example, I'm Richie Contartesi, a 2024 wide receiver at Palm Beach Central High School in Florida. Now you're finally in a position to pitch them. And it's time for you to share why you're great. You can't be humble here in this one section. You already spent time to talk about the coach, personalize the email. They know you spent the time. Now it's time in one sentence to pitch yourself. And this section, you're gonna get better at over time. And as you evolve in high school and get more stats and you get better at this process, and you will continue to get better. And the simplest way to do this is to connect your skills to the team's needs. For example, I believe I could contribute as a slot receiver in your 11 personnel because last year I had over 1,500 yards receiving and 11 touchdowns as a slot receiver. Or, and although I play quarterback and have thrown for 27 touchdowns and ran for another 11 just this year, I've been asked by Division I programs to play tight end or linebacker, and I'm absolutely willing to do so as well. These are two examples that you can use to showcase your skills. The more facts and stats and accolades you can use in this one sentence, and again, pick your best, the better. If you don't have stats or you don't have accolades at this point, then you need to talk about the intangibles and the things that you do on the field that make you a great player. Then comes the call to action to watch your video. And all you need to do here is keep it really simple. And you could say, you could see exactly what I mean by watching my highlight video here, and then just have the link to your highlight video. There's no need at this point to overcomplicate it. Now, there will be one more call to action in this email under your video, and that's for them to ultimately jump on a call with you. If you've watched a lot of my videos, you know our entire sales process that we teach. The next step after they watch your video is to go ahead and get on a phone call with you. So all you need to say at this point is, I believe I could be the perfect fit to help this team to another championship. When are you able to connect and then discuss the opportunity? Question mark. Again, we're gonna keep it really simple. It's just about, at this point, getting them on the phone. Step 4, make sure your highlight video is accessible. Many times athletes will share with us their Huddle account and we click and it's just a bunch of single plays, or we have to dive deep to try to find it. Instead, you wanna make sure you have one highlight video with all of your best plays, organized, clean, with the right best plays in the very beginning, right when they click the link. And if you can put this on your own web page, that's even better. If you have the financial resources, what we do with our mentees is they have their own personal landing page that has their video at the top and then all their accolades, all their information, all their contact information right there on one page. And the coach doesn't have to watch an ad if they're not logged into their Huddle. If you only have a Huddle account, that's fine. Just make sure that it's linked directly to their highlight video. Now, the importance of your plays being in the right order and having your best plays up front that will actually make a coach respond back to you is critical. So if you'd like a professional Division I recruiting director to look at your highlight video and your plays and make sure it's in the right order so that coaches, when they watch it, respond back to you, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can see if your son meets the criteria for a professional evaluation. And step 5 might be the most important, and that's to actually track your KPIs and make adjustments. KPIs are key performance indicators, and what we do with our mentees is teach them how to be businessmen. And key performance indicators are really important in any business, especially if you're doing outreach and sales. You've got to track everything you're doing in order to properly make improvements. And we do that by tracking certain KPIs, like how many emails were sent, how many were opened, how many were clicked, how many responded, and what was the result. And when doing this, we know if any one of those metrics are low, we know exactly what adjustments we can make to that email to ensure that the next coach opens it, clicks it, or responds back to them. Here are a few examples of the challenges you may face. If you have a low open rate, it means you have a bad subject line. If you have a low click rate, it means you have a bad pitch. If you have a low response rate, it either means you're targeting the wrong schools, you don't have your highlight videos set up properly, or you're pitching the wrong coach. So it's really important to track everything that you're doing as a businessman or a salesperson to ensure that you're constantly on a week in and week out basis improving. What we do with our mentees is we track all of their KPIs, and then on a weekly basis, prescribe them a next play so that they know what they need to do next to get better based on the work that they're actually doing, instead of just guessing and hoping that things get better. And one bonus tip is to make sure to respond as soon as possible once you find out who's responsible for recruiting your area. So if a coach says, I'm responsible, and they email you back, you want to make sure to respond back to them as soon as possible. Now, I created a document with this entire playbook, all the steps, and the template, so you can download it and start using it right away to get coaches to actually watch your video and ultimately respond back to you. And as always, it's completely free. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can go ahead and download it. And if you got value from this video and you'd like to watch more videos just like it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And if you'd like to watch the video to find out who's responsible for recruiting your area at the schools you're targeting, then you're gonna wanna watch this video right here.